Good evening. Please be seated. Let me tell you something about the young folks we just met. That was the John Marshall High School Air Force Junior ROTC. Its mission is to develop citizens of character dedicated to serving their nation and community. That unit was opened in 2010 and has influenced young citizens in leadership, discipline, and service. By the way, Bruce, who you saw there, is the pipe major of the Irish American Club Eastside Pipe Band, has been playing the pipe since he was 12 years old. Can we get one more round of applause, please?
Hold it down, please. Let's listen to
I'm going to take Dan Hansen with me everywhere I go. How's that? Once again, good evening, everybody. My name is Russ Mitchell. I'm with WKYC Channel 3. I'm the 6 and 11 o'clock anchor. It is a pleasure to be with you tonight. I want to thank the Hansens, Dan and Debbie, for inviting me to be a part of this. Dan and Debbie were some of my first friends when I moved to Cleveland 12 years ago, and it's an honor to know them. Can we get the first round of applause of the evening for the Hansens, please, who do an amazing job. Let me tell you a bit about the Cleveland International Hall of Fame. It was started back in 2010. This is the largest annual gathering of ethnic community leaders in Cleveland. Attendees represent 65 different ethnic heritage. Each year, about 100 worthy nominations are submitted, and previous inductees give their input, and a committee finally narrows it down to 6 outstanding people. The main criteria for introduction is to have made a significant and lasting contribution to one or more ethnic groups, or to the ethnic diversity of the city as a whole. And once again, this is a great event every year. The Hansens put it on, and it's always very successful, and tonight, of course, will be no exception to that. I want to introduce some folks in the room I have been asked to point out. One of them, City Council President Blaine Griffin. President Griffin, are you there? Blaine Griffin, the 2014 graduate of the Leadership Cleveland class, best class ever, I believe. Blaine, thank you very much. Let's say a few words.
Thank you, Russ. Good evening. Good evening. Come on, you guys could do better than that. Good evening. If you've seen how beautiful and how great you look and how you represent Cleveland, you will see why I'm ecstatic and why I'm happy to be here today. I first want to thank Dan and Deb. Let's give them a round of applause for really growing to put this together. Cleveland is known for our diversity and our ethnic communities, and no matter which of the 120 backgrounds that you come from in the city of Cleveland, we all come together to be Cleveland strong and Cleveland proud. I do want to thank all of the honorees and congratulate all of the honorees, but before I do that, I want to welcome the ambassador for Estonia. If he could please stand, the ambassador for Estonia. And I didn't want to mess this up, but I believe it's Chris John Prick. Did I say that right? Got it. Then we also have the ambassador for Ireland that is here, if we can recognize her. And I'll save our ambassador for last, but I will give kudos to all of the, congrats to all of the winners, especially my good friend, my sister, once a council person, always a council person, Councilwoman Donna Brady. Where's Donna Brady at? Donna, we miss you, and I might just try to come back and find a way to try to put you back on the team somewhere. But anyway, Donna Brady, thank you, and Dan, her husband, as well as here, former councilman and state senator. I also want to make sure that I acknowledge Veronica Dahlberg, who has done so much great work. If she could please stand, Veronica. One of my favorite people in the world, I know he's not with us anymore, his daughter Joy is here, but Dr. Eugene Jordan, who helped raise a lot of us. Want to make sure we give him a round of applause. Erica Pusar from the Estonian community, want to acknowledge you and thank you as well. Johnny Wu, Everybody knows Johnny Woo, one of the best movie producers, but more so just a strong Clevelander. If Johnny Woo could please stand. And last but not least, me and this gentleman had an opportunity to travel Aer Lingus together over to Ireland, and it was hard to believe, but this man might be more popular in Ireland than he is actually in Cleveland. But Ambassador Eddie Crawford, if he could please stand with me. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Cleveland. This is Cleveland. You'll hear from my colleague, Mike Polincic, and my other colleague, Jasmine Santana, is here. We love this city. We love its diversity. We love all of this coming together. And once again, we'd like to thank you all for being here at the Cleveland International Hall of Fame. Thanks, Dan. Thanks, Deb. You guys have a great evening.
Mr. President, thank you. We'd also like to acknowledge City Community Relations Director Angela Shute-Woodson. Mayor Bibb is in D.C. tonight. A round of applause, please, for Director Shute-Woodson. Hi.
Good to see you. Good evening, everyone. In the absence of Mayor Justin Bibb, first we want to thank Deb, Dan, and the ClevelandPeople.com for just this effort that they work tirelessly to put on year after year. In addition, we also want to congratulate and continue to uplift the past awardees and the current awardees of our city. Mayor Bibb does give his deepest regrets for not being here today, but we're just so happy, and I'm happy to be here as a Community Relations Director because this is the richness of Cleveland. Today's richness showcases 120 different ethnic groups throughout the city. And we get to uplift the leadership and the significance, contribution, and enduring efforts that each of you have done and all of the awardees today. This is what is unique about Cleveland. If you could see this room from where I stand, this is Cleveland, and it's proud to host you here by the river today. So again, as we stand with you, we congratulate all the honorees. The council president acknowledged everybody, how proud we are of you and your efforts and the continuing work you do to provide unity, peace, and mutual understanding in our city. Thank you.
Director, thank you. Representing the Office of the Cuyahoga County Executive is Christopher Alvarado, the Director of Regional Collaboration. Christopher, you here? There he is. Round of applause, please, for Christopher.
So yes, as you can tell, I am not Chris Ronayne. And I'm always grateful to come in after Council President Griffin because he always makes sure to acknowledge everybody and I don't have to remember every single one of our honorees. But we're grateful that you're all here this evening. I'm Chris Alvarado, the Director of Regional Collaboration for Cuyahoga County Executive Chris Ronayne. Executive Ronayne is deeply apologetic that he is not able to be here and he sends his deepest regards. He really wanted to be here tonight to celebrate this with all of you, especially given the opening of the Welcome Center here in the city of Cleveland this year and his personal commitment to making Cleveland, Cuyahoga County, and Northeast Ohio a place of welcome for everybody. On his behalf, it's an honor to be here tonight among distinguished guests and honorees from our local community and from around the world. The Cleveland International Hall of Fame since 2010 has represented the pinnacle of excellence, guiding the culture of openness and caring that our shared home is recognized for. Tonight, we're honoring those who have demonstrated extraordinary leadership, innovation, and dedication to their fields, and who have profoundly impacted our diverse and vibrant community. Cuyahoga County is home to more than 120 unique cultures and nationalities from all corners of the world. It's a reminder that at our core, we are a land of immigrants, and our diversity is our strength. This diversity brings dynamic energy and a variety of perspectives that enriches our community and all of Northeast Ohio. Let us also take a moment to recognize the importance of unity and collaboration in our increasingly interconnected world. By embracing diversity and fostering international cooperation, we can overcome challenges and create a brighter future for generations to come. I, on behalf of County Executive Ronayne, extend my warmest congratulations to each of the honorees tonight. Your passion, vision, and unwavering commitment inspires each of us. Thank you for your outstanding contributions to our shared global community. Please enjoy the evening and let us continue to celebrate the power of diversity, excellence, and achievement together. Thank you.
Christopher, thank you. Now, let's please welcome to the podium one of our hosts for the evening, the co-founder of the Cleveland International Hall of Fame, Mr. Dan Hansen.
Well, hi, everybody. I'm going to try to, it sounds a little muddy to me. Maybe that's my aging years, but too many years playing guitar. But I'm going to try to talk really loud and clear. And I appreciate your attention because I have a lot of people to thank. You know, this is another sellout, as you can see. And as people have mentioned, Cleveland, Northeast Ohio is home to people of 120 different ethnic heritages. We have about 75 of those represented tonight. But even cooler is there's a group that were born somewhere else or came in from somewhere else and are here tonight. And I just kind of did it off the cuff here because I wanted to read it because it's pretty impressive. So if you hear your nationality or if you're that person, feel free to, you know, woohoo or whatever. So we have people here from Albania, Armenia, China, Colombia, the Czech Republic, Dominican Republic, Estonia, Ethiopia, Finland, France, Greece, Hungary, India, Ireland, Italy, Latvia, Lebanon, Lithuania, Mexico, Nigeria, Poland, Puerto Rico, Serbia, Slovakia, Slovenia, Switzerland, Syria, the Philippines, Turkey, Ukraine, and Vietnam. And there may be some others. So that's pretty impressive. You know, years ago, whether you call him Mayor, Senator, or Governor Voinovich, he said people who embrace their ethnic heritage turn out to be great Americans because it's important to keep those traditions and food and music and faith and all, and that ethnic diversity is part of what makes Cleveland so great. The 6 inductees tonight are what makes Cleveland so great too, and I wish I had time to tell stories about each of them. If I had time, I would tell about Donna Brady and watching her work so hard to get a sister city relationship with Fier, Albania, or to get that beautiful Albanian cultural garden started, and how she tells everyone who will listen, and even if they won't listen, that Mother Teresa was Albanian, right? I tell about that day when she invited the president of Albania, and he came in, and it was probably the worst weather Cleveland ever had, but we had the dedication of that garden, and that was Donna. If I had time, I'd tell you about Ambassador Ed Crawford, who, you know, the Irish Cultural Garden was dedicated in 1939, and it had some, well, decades of neglect, really. It really didn't have what it should. And one day, Ambassador Crawford, I would tell you, was driving by, and being a man of action, he did something, and he did a lot, and he started the Irish Garden Club, and now it's one of the premier cultural gardens. And I tell you about the day when he invited the Taoiseach of Ireland. Now, the Taoiseach is like the Prime Minister, right? Ambassador, that's Prime Minister, right? So the Taoiseach was here, and the ambassador, and the consul general, and Senator Voinovich, and Mayor Jackson, and all them, and about 200 of Ambassador Crawford's closest friends were there that day, and he turned that around. But I don't have time to tell you that. I tell you about Veronica Dahlberg creating with her organization HOLA a $2 million Hispanic community center in Paynesville. It's incredible. But what I'd really like to tell you, and I mean this in the best way, Veronica, you are a bulldog or a pit bull. You have been fighting for migrants and immigrants. Margaret Wong told us she claws and scratches. I remember a time when there was a family and a man was going to be deported, and he had 6 kids, and he and his wife were here, and the 6 kids. So Veronica set up a march from Paynesville to St. Casimir Church in Glenville, 83rd and Sawinski. And it was terrible weather, of course. And they went and prayed with Father Eric, who's here. And they prayed to the Polish Our Lady of Czestochowa and her equivalent in Mexico, Our Lady of Guadalupe. That's the kind of grassroots stuff I tell you about Veronica. I tell you about the late Dr. Jordan because he was a walking encyclopedia of African American history, which, as he would tell you, is really American history. He would talk about the Emancipation Proclamation, Carter G. Woodson, the 54th Cavalry, which was the first black cavalry that fought for free in the Civil War, the Tuskegee Airmen, the Buffalo Soldiers, all of that. But he would tell us, I would tell you this story about 15, 20 years ago when a small group met at the African American Garden. There was Carl Ewing, there's Khalid Samad and Raj and some kids from Peace in the Hood, my sister Debbie and me, and Dr. Jordan. And Dr. Jordan started talking about this thing that they only knew about in Oklahoma and Texas. And he called it Juneteenth. And every year he pushed it and pushed it and pushed it. And now obviously Juneteenth is a federal holiday. And I personally give a lot of credit to Dr. Jordan for that. I don't have time to tell you all about Erica Puisar either. She had a rough life, no doubt about it. She lived under Soviet occupation in Estonia. She had to flee that. She went to a displaced persons camp before coming to America. And with her 50 plus years of teaching us about St. John's Day and Victory Day, and how would I pronounce that? I'll let the ambassador tell you. Vadipa and Johnny Piev, always being the sweetest lady in the room. So I tell you about all that Eric has done. And finally, I tell you about my friend Johnny Wu, who has become one of my best friends. About 20 years ago, Debbie and I went to Margaret Wong and said, who should we get for an ambassador for the Chinese community? And she said, there's this up-and-coming guy named Johnny Wu. You should meet him. So we went and met him, and the rest is history. He's incredible. He, with Lisa Wong and V. Wynn, started the Cleveland Asian Festival. He, along with people like Donna Ham, helped create Asia Town out of a crappy, pardon my French, neighborhood. He's the guy who produces One World Day and gets us tens of thousands of people every year. So I have all kinds of stories about Johnny Wu, but I just don't have time because I have to thank some people. The first person I have to thank is Russ Mitchell. Russ is a pro's pro. He was, you may not know, he was a national anchor for many years, and he came to Cleveland, wanted to slow down a little. He told me and Debbie one day at lunch, you know, he was tired of the hustle and bustle of New York and Washington, D.C., and when he got here, all of a sudden these international stories were coming out of Cleveland, Ariel Castro and all this, so he never really got a chance to slow down. But he said he'd be here tonight, even if the terminal tower fell, and you're here, and we thank you so much, Russ. So let's hear for Russ. City Council President Blaine Griffin's been a longtime friend, back to when he was Community Relations Director. He's a great leader. I remember when he inducted Khalid in 2016. That was a great moment here. And of course, Angela, we go back to when Jeff Johnson was a councilman. Jeff, remember your Glenville parades and festival. Angela would run those, and we'd work with him. And, Chris Ronane's under the weather, but we're glad to have his representative here. Can I have your attention, please? I've got to thank these people. So we have our board members there, John Lewis, Mike Miller, Juan Loy Powell, and Debbie Hansen. Debbie worked for about a week to get the parking down to $3 today from like 10, so she's the one to thank for the parking at that. We have volunteers, Rich Krepage, Rania Abadi, Bridget Maroke, Anjan Ghost, Matt Stafford, Michael Horning. And there's too many dignitaries to point out, but I have to do a few. As you've heard, we have Ireland's ambassador to the U.S., Ambassador Nason. Last year she was on the tour of the Irish Garden with Ambassador Crawford, and she said if he gets inducted into the Cleveland International Hall of Fame, she would come and do it, and she kept her word, and here she is. So thank you, Ambassador. This is Ambassador Christian Preek's first visit to Cleveland. We're so glad he's here. Maybe you read his op-ed in Sunday's Plain Dealer on Cleveland.com. With what's going on with Russia, Ukraine, the Baltics, Poland, it's so important to hear from the Estonian ambassador. Of course, you'll hear more from Ambassador Crawford soon, but we have one other. We have Ambassador Heather Hodges here, president of CCWA, and you might not know Ambassador Hodges. She was ambassador to Moldova and later Ecuador, U.S. ambassador. So, Ambassador Hodges, thank you for being here. We also have the Consul General. I'm going to ask you again to be quiet. I don't know if it would be a jerk, but this is important stuff. We have the Consul General of Slovenia here, Alenka Jeric. Judges, council members, all that. I do have to mention our sponsors. Gold sponsors, and they're in the book. You'll see them on the screen. The Irish Garden Club, Kent State University, and the Minutemen family of companies. Silver sponsors, Albert and Audrey Ratner. This is the first time I think Mr. Ratner has missed an event. It's the first night of Passover. He couldn't come, but he did send a video keynote, and we have links to that on the website that you can watch. It's about 5.5 minutes. You should. Alex Machaski, Table, silver sponsors. Cleveland Asian Festival, keep May 18th and 19th together. CCWA, now 101 years old, I believe. Crawford United, Dr. Joy Jordan and her family. Just like her father, Dr. Joy became a world-class dentist. Eddie Nee, where is Eddie Nee? Eddie? Okay, I have to apologize to Eddie Nee. You are not in the book as a silver sponsor. I screwed up. I had you under Windfall Group, your company. You're not in the book. Please, everyone, a round of applause for Eddie Nee. He's done so much for the Chinese Cultural Garden. Global Cleveland, of course. Joe Simperman and his team doing amazing things to open up Cleveland to the world and welcoming. Lou and Ann Frangus from the Greek Cultural Garden. Margaret Wong and Associates. Margaret, of course, finest immigration lawyer in the country and a great friend of all of us. All right, we need Martin Sweeney here. If you're ever at one of his events, he holds something up and says, shh, so people can't hear. And I'm just going to wait until you quiet down. Shh. You can talk at dinner. Thank you very much. Northeast Ohio Regional Sewer District is a silver sponsor. We're thrilled to have our friend Jacqueline Muhammad here. We met her first when she ran African History Months at City Hall. She was at the airport. Has been a friend ever since. And we love the sewer district. They're more important than ever with rain and everything going on, water, and they have the best Twitter or X account ever. It's hilarious. Dick Pogue, the man, the legend. We could list his accomplishments forever. And the superlative group is also a silver sponsor. Now, I'm hurrying up here, but this is important. Every year we try to get students here, and we're glad to have John Marshall High School do the color guard. But it's expensive, so we ask people every year, and they want to buy their own tickets. This year we had an anonymous donor, and because of this person, we have 5 tables of students here. We have students from Benedictine High School, students from Ginn Academy, students from some of the Greek schools. I don't think they're here yet. Students from Magnificat High School, and students from St. Martin de Porres High School. So here's the thing, as long as I'm in trouble anyway, this person did not want to be recognized, but he should be. It's expensive, it's a great thing, it's great to have these kids here, and I wouldn't say that it was Ambassador Ed Crawford, but if I were to announce who this person was, who was the anonymous donor, I'd probably just come out and say it was Ambassador Ed Crawford. So thanks for all these students here. They're going to be inspired by tonight's inductees. They're going to be inspired by the past inductees. And we have a bunch of them here tonight. Once again, I'm going to say it real fast, but they deserve to be recognized. You'll see them on the screen later, too. So when I call your name, just raise your hand or stand. These are some of the previous inductees who are here. Anda Cook, Anthony Yen, August Pust, Carl Robeson, Carolyn Baylog, Dick Pogue, Dr. Weil Curry, Georgine Wheelo, Jerry Quinn, Yawa Ryan, Ingrida Bublis, Irene Morrow, Jenny Brown, Jim Creation, Joe Meisner, Jose Feliciano, Ken Kovach, Margaret Lynch, Margaret Wong, Maria Puhana, Mary Rose Okar, Michael Polensik, Paul Burek, Pierre Bijani, Ralph Perk Jr., the Reverend Otis Moss Jr., Sheila Murphy Crawford, Sudarshan Sate, and Valerie McCall. So they've all been past inductees. Let's give them a round of applause. Now finally, if Carl Ewing could come up. Carl, where are you? And then I'll sit down. Carl, where are you? There he comes. Okay. So this is the Hall of Fame. It's not an annual awards show. This is for lifetime achievements. And unfortunately, with the Hall of Fame, some of the people we have to induct posthumously, like Dr. Jordan tonight, or some have passed away because they're older. Can you grab a water? So I learned, tonight we're going to recognize those people who have passed on, either board members or inductees who are no longer with us. This is a libation ceremony, and you may have heard about pouring one out for people and all that, but I first learned about it from Dr. Jordan, from Carl Ewing, from Khalid Samad, people like that who, in the African American community, who really show respect for their ancestors and elders. So along those lines, Carl, I'd like to ask for permission from the elders to continue. Thank you. So what we're going to do, there's a Nigerian, a Yoruba term, Yoruba people come from Nigeria, Benin, Togo, called Ashe. And it's kind of like amen, it's kind of like sending positive vibes and an affirmation. What we're going to do, I'm going to announce the name of the person who has passed on. Carl is going to pour a little out, and you're all going to say Ashe after the name. So let's try it once. Ashe. Ashe. Okay. So we're going to remember those who have gone before us. Sister Alicia Alvarado.
Ashe.
Dr. Mohan Bafna.
Ashe.
Margaret Callender,
Ashe.
Bill Carney,
Ashe.
Arnie de la Porte,
Ashe.
Dr. Du Duc Do,
Ashe.
Vijaya El Imani,
Ashe.
Richard Fleischman,
Ashe.
Richard Gammon,
Ashe.
Robert Haas,
Ashe.
Patricia Hansen,
Ashe.
Joseph Holzer,
Ashe.
Donna Ham,
Ashe.
Jack Kale,
Ashe.
Helen Karpinski,
Ashe.
Lonnie McCauley,
Ashe.
Ernie Mahaley,
Ashe.
Sam Miller,
Ashe.
William Miller,
Ashe.
Steve Malloy,
Ashe.
Nacy Panzica,
Ashe.
Mayor Ralph Perk,
Ashe.
Tony Pekovsik,
Ashe.
Bishop Edward Pevick,
Ashe.
Judge Ray Pianka,
Ashe.
Bishop Anthony Pilla,
Ashe.
Vladimir Roos,
Ashe.
Thomas Scanlon,
Ashe.
Paul Sharia,
Ashe.
Bert Seymour,
Ashe.
Paramjit Singh,
Ashe.
Lucretia Stoica,
Ashe.
Tara Somagala,
Ashe.
Senator George Voinovich, and Leo Weidenthal. So I sincerely apologize if I missed anyone. We will never forget them. We'll never forget them. To everyone else, please stay healthy. We don't want to add on to this list. Thank you, Carl. I'll turn it over to Russ. I'm sorry for going so long. Thanks.
Dan, thank you very much. And by the way, the terminal tower did not fall. I'm happy to report tonight. If I can please have your attention for just a couple more minutes before we let you begin your dinner in peace. We'll take a little break and then we'll start our program. We now would like to have the invocation. I'd like to invite to the podium Father Eric Orzak. Father Eric is pastor at both the Shrine Church at St. Stanislaus in Slavic Village and St. Casimir Church in Glenville. He is also National Vice President of the Polish American Priest Association and was its former president. Father Eric, good evening.
Toughest job on the dais, being the last person between people and their dinner. So we have to make it worth your while. For those who couldn't resist and already ate your salad, and maybe even dipped into that cheesecake in front of you, the blessing's retroactive. And for everything else that comes just today, we're doing a special, no calories. Good and gracious God, it is with joy-filled and thankful hearts that we gather together this evening to honor excellence within our midst in tonight's inductees into the Cleveland International Hall of Fame. Throughout the years, those who have blazed the trail of coming to our area to establish a new and better life have encountered many trials along the way. But our inductees this evening show us how, at any time, obstacles can become achievements, how perseverance does indeed pay off, and how the richness of our diversity, properly respected and celebrated, blossoms into the unity that we now share. We ask your bountiful blessing, Lord, to come upon this food and fellowship of which we shall partake, and upon all those who have worked so hard to make this day and its events possible. We ask your blessings, too, upon all gathered here, upon our distinguished guests and our inductees. May our celebration this day refresh our spirits and fill us with renewed hope. May it enliven us to embrace the work yet to be accomplished for the greater good. May we be instruments to inspire many, especially the young, to embrace their heritage, share it with pride, and yet be open to the richness that comes to them through others. May your divine assistance accompany us this day and always. Amen. And as we say in Polish, smacznego, which is like bon appetit, only better.
Father, thank you. Please enjoy your dinner. We'll resume our program in just a few moments. Can we please get a round of applause for Mr. Bruce Gregg? It's fantastic. And if we could have everyone back in their seats, we would like to resume our program now. It's time to induct some folks into the International Hall of Fame. Also want to thank and give a big round of applause to the amazing folks who prepared this food tonight and served it to us as well. Can we get a round of applause for them? All right. Are we ready to induct some people into the International Hall of Fame? I tell you, I'm taking Dan with me everywhere I go. Are we ready, folks, to induct some people into the International Hall of Fame? I want to let you know that besides the award, very nice award that they will receive tonight, they'll also get a Hall of Fame lapel pin. Also, there are going to be proclamations from several folks tonight. They include Governor Mike DeWine, Cleveland Mayor Justin Bibb, Cleveland City Council President Blaine Griffin, Ohio State House of Representatives Tom Patton, Congressman Dave Joyce, and others as well. All right, let me get your attention, please, because the time is here to induct some really good folks into the Cleveland International Hall of Fame. All right, our first inductee tonight, important stuff here, folks. Our first inductee tonight is Councilwoman Donna Brady. She will be introduced by Councilman Mike Polensek. Let me tell you something about Councilman Polensek. I'm sure you know. Ward 8 Councilman, the Dean of the City Council, has served the neighborhoods of Northeast Ohio since 1978, making him the longest-serving council member in the city's history. He was inducted himself into the Hall of Fame last year, and he is on television in Cleveland more than I am. Councilman Mike Polensek.
Thank you, Russ. Can everybody hear me, I hope? Now, I've been reminded, since I'm the first batter up here, to remind all the future presenters as it pertains to their time limit, because if you remember last year, we were here for 3.5 hours. And I was the last recipient, so at that time, half the audience had left and the other half had too much to drink at that point, okay? So we don't want to find ourselves in that situation again. Let me just say this, and again, I want to thank everyone who came out tonight to fill this beautiful ballroom for this wonderful event. I'd like to acknowledge and welcome the clergy that is here, local and elected public officials who are here tonight, along with the ambassadors consul generals and honorary consul generals who represent their countries and cultures, as well as the loved ones and friends of our honorees. If you cannot hear me, raise your hand in the back. I would like to congratulate all the honorees to be inducted this evening into the Cleveland International Hall of Fame. I'd like to thank the nominating committee, who worked diligently to seek out those who've contributed greatly to Cleveland's rich ethnic, racial, and religious diversity. Those of us who've been inducted in the past can attest to what a great honor this is, and I wish to thank Debbie and Dan Hansen for their ongoing commitment in keeping this tradition alive. And I want to say that again. Thank you, Debbie and Dan. I have been honored and been asked to introduce my longtime friend, Donna Brady, who wears her Albanian heritage as a proud badge of courage. I've known Donna a long time, from being the old school Democratic activist within our party to holding elected public office in Cleveland City Council, serving from December 1999 through February 2020 in 3 distinct wards, districts in Cleveland's West Side. I've always admired her tenacity, but also her compassion, my brothers and sisters, in dealing with neighborhood-related issues. I heard her say often at the table when speaking on behalf of the community, she would say, "I'm here representing my constituents, my constituents." I learned that firsthand in 2000 when I was council president and we were going through the redistricting process, which we're about to go through again, when she was concerned about making sure her ward was left intact. I learned that you never want to upset an Albanian who was also part Italian, okay, remember that. When the opportunity presented itself to have the Albanian community and culture represented in historic cultural gardens, Donna was right there. I always commended her for her drive to ensure that not only was the garden done right, but also that it became a tribute to the life's work of Saint Mother Teresa, who was born in Albania, and heard a call from God to become a missionary to serve the poor. That's right. I know Donna, listen up, I know Donna took her inspiration from Mother Teresa in her devotion to family and community, and in her way of inspiring others to work together for the greater good. Please listen to this. Saint Mother Teresa once said, "Do not allow yourself to be disheartened by any failure as long as you have done your best." I know Donna Brady always did her best. It is my honor to introduce Donna Brady as our newest member of the Cleveland International Hall of Fame. Come on up, lady. Where are you hiding? Come on up.
Thank you so much. Oh, oh boy. Thank you so much, Michael. It was my pleasure working with you for all those years, and I really enjoyed Cleveland City Council. I really did. Well, good evening. I am truly honored to be inducted into the Cleveland International Hall of Fame Class of 2024. And I congratulate my fellow nominees, or inductees, shall I say. I'd like to thank Cleta Spirolari over there for submitting my nomination and the entire Albanian community for supporting me. And thank you for being here with me this evening. They're over there. I'd also like to thank Dan and Debbie Hansen for their outstanding coverage of the many Albanian events. After the fall of communism in Albania 30 years ago, I had the pleasure of getting to know and working with the new Albanian immigrants and subsequently with the Kosovar Albanian refugees who were sent to Cleveland after the war. I'd like to give a shout out to Sister Kathleen Ryan over there because her dedication in assisting the Kosovars was so tremendous. They arrived here with literally nothing but the shirts on their backs. Since then, thousands of Albanians have migrated to Greater Cleveland. They quickly learned the language, took jobs they could find in order to support their families, and became certified in their former professions or new professions, and many of them started up their own businesses. I am so proud of the Albanian people. I have observed their commitment to family and the importance they place on hard work and education. I watched as they made their own way and succeeded in their new country 5,000 miles from home. My husband Dan and I toured Albania extensively. Albania is spectacularly beautiful, with mountains and valleys and clean lakes and streams located on the clear blue Adriatic Sea. The people are generous, they're friendly, and they're helpful. And the food is fantastic. I can't wait to go back. It's hard to believe that we are now experiencing our third generation of Albanians here in Northern Ohio. And I feel very fortunate to be part of their family. Working with this amazing community has been one of the most fun, and you know that, you guys are fun. The most fun, interesting, and rewarding experience of my life. Thank you again. Faleminderit shumë. This is for you.
Councilwoman, once again, congratulations to you. Our next inductee into the Cleveland International Hall of Fame is Ambassador Ed Crawford. He will be introduced by Ireland's ambassador to the United States, Geraldine Byrne-Nason. Before the ambassador came to Washington, she spent 5 years as Ireland's ambassador to the UN, most recently during Ireland's term, serving on the Security Council as an elected member. Please welcome to the podium, Ambassador Geraldine Byrne-Nason.
Good evening, everyone. Tá fáilte roimh, tá anarchas ar bheithir mask in my own national language. It's a great, great pleasure to be with you here this evening. I came here for the last time in November when I had the honour to officially open the office of Ireland's first honorary consul, the amazing Mark Owens, who's with us this evening. We did that last November, and Mark is doing a tremendous job here. Tonight is a particular delight for me. When I meet Ambassador Edward Crawford, we usually speak about many topics, occasionally geopolitics, often Irish culture, and even this evening, Irish poetry. It's clear that Edward has an extraordinary breadth of experience, both at home here and in Ireland. He's committed to preserving and fostering Irish roots, his own Irish roots, and the absolutely exceptional Irish garden at the Cleveland Culture Gardens really is a great testament to that. In Ireland, Edward Crawford is known as a proud Irish American and an honourable ambassador of the United States to Ireland. In truth, we didn't so much welcome you back home to your homeland, Edward, as we like to think that in many ways you never left. When Ambassador Crawford presented his credentials to Ireland's President Michael D. Higgins in July 2019, he and his wife Mary began a term in Ireland that would coincide with one of the most challenging periods for all of us across the globe. Ambassador Crawford was in Ireland during the period of the COVID-19 pandemic, and that he was in Ireland and supported not just the US Embassy, but US citizens right across Ireland during that time is such a powerful illustration of his commitment to public service. But before the pandemic, I know that Mary and Edward had a chance to connect with their Irish roots, to experience that Céad Míle Fáilte, the 100,000 welcomes that we in Ireland like to speak of. And there are especially fond memories of you both in a small village called Boherbree in North Cork, where Ambassador Crawford's mother, Catherine Healy, hailed from, and to which I understand, Ambassador, you took your first official visit. Now, I was told that when you got to the village in Cork, that you were presented with the Boherbree GAA, Gaelic Athletic Association jersey. I'm a bit surprised you're not sporting it this evening, but I promise that that secret will remain safe with me. I believe that Catherine Healy left Boherbree in 1927, aged just 16, to come to the United States. And her story and that of the ambassador's family forms part of that great patchwork of generations of Irish who left Ireland for better lives, looking to find better lives for themselves and their families in the US. We like to say that the great tapestry of the United States is woven through with the green of the Emerald Isle. Many of those untold stories are of young women like the ambassador's mother, who took incredible risk and sacrifice to seize opportunity. I imagine that the ambassador's mother, leaving Ireland during a period of profound change, could never in a million years have imagined that her son would return to Ireland as the ambassador of the United States. Indeed, I think it might actually have been a great surprise to her, to your mum, that the next generation would actively seek to return to an island that she had been forced to leave. As our great woman poet, I believe our greatest woman poet, Evan Boland, put it in her poem that's entitled The Emigrant Irish, she said, "What they survived, we could not even live. By their lights now, it's time to imagine how they stood there, what they stood with, that their possessions may become our power." We're incredibly fortunate in this century, in the century since many journeyed to the United States, that Ireland has prospered and is indeed a country that our diaspora want to come to today. I've seen so much here in Cleveland of what must have drawn that young Catherine Healy to this state almost 100 years ago. It's a great Irish-American community here based on history and tradition, and also a 21st century one that's looking forward. There's an openness here, and I will conclude soon by saying that one of the definitions of openness must be that in a Cleveland, a city so associated with Achill and Mayo, and I know we have representatives from Mayo and Achill tonight, that they've allowed a man like Edward Crawford with Cork roots to become a member of the International Hall of Fame. We know that the great connection with Cleveland is even more tangible now. We have a direct flight, an Aer Lingus flight that Ambassador Crawford and his wife were happy to be on, going to Ireland, and which will fly all of you who are willing to line up back to Ireland as soon as you can get a ticket back to Dublin. It's my great honour tonight to induct a proud Irish American, Ambassador Edward Crawford, into the Cleveland International Hall of Fame. And as he comes to the stage, I'd like to say it's an honour that pays tribute to him, to his family, I will say in particular to Catherine Healy, and to his own great commitment to public service on behalf of the United States. Ambassador Crawford.
I'll make these short and sweet. Number one, I'm very, very excited to be here with my fellow graduates of this class. I already know we're the top class in the last 10 or 15 years, and we're going to do better in the future. But I want to come back and follow on a comment from Mr. Griffin when he talked about Cleveland. And the Ambassador, thank you very much for coming all the way to be here tonight. You're special, Cleveland's special, my family's special, and you mentioned my mother. So I'm forced to have to tell a story to everyone about my mom. Because we are Irish, and we're proud of that, and the families are important to us. And everyone in this room that are part of their families, it's important to be there. It's important to have that camaraderie and that warmth that you have between, families, boys, sons, relatives. So and if you're going to be a real Irishman, you have to be a good storyteller. So I want to tell you a quick story. I think you're going to love it. It tells all about who I am, what we are, what the Irish are. It's very simply. Kathleen Healy, that the Ambassador spoke about, my mother left Ireland when she was 17 years old. She came to America. Now the story begins. Simply, we were living in New York City in 1948 in all the apartment buildings in a part of New York City I hated, my mom hated. It was noise, it was everything else. And my mom decided she was going to take her two boys, now I'm going to have to make three boys because my older brother was a little part of the problem, but it was my older brother. You know how this goes in an Irish family. But the three of us, and my mother and father, the next thing I knew, I was in a truck. My father was an electrician. I got into the truck with my two brothers in the back. We had sleeping bags, and we started down the New Jersey Turnpike. We got to the Pennsylvania Turnpike. When we got to what we thought was going to be the Ohio Turnpike, there was no Ohio Turnpike. I said, oops, in the back, we got out of the thing. We thought we were on the way to California. So this is exciting. This is my mom, and she's all fired up about it. My dad's just driving along and so forth. So we get the Ohio line, and we go north. Not this is important, but it is important. We went north to a little town called Conneaut, Ohio, which was the first time we ever stopped in Ohio. Here we are in this little town. We go, they had a little pool in the back. We took showers and so forth. It was very exciting. So we get up in the morning. This is 1948. It's June. It's June 16th or 17th. I don't know exactly. It was a Sunday. We get in the truck, we pile ourselves in, we get all our clothes and everything, and away we go. We're going through Chicago, we're going to California where the gold is. This is my mom. And right in the middle of downtown, in Superior, right there, 28th and Superior, something happened. Boom! Boom! That was the engine of the truck. That was our end of our trip to California. And I grew up in Cleveland. It's been a wonderful, and Mr. Griffin, it's a great place. And when you have people like Albert Racken and this gentleman right over here, he's been acknowledged. I'll do it again and then again and again. Can I use your name again? I'll say it again, Mr. Rankin. Okay, that's it. That's my story. I'm going to stick to it. Thank you for being here. Have a nice day.
Ambassador Crawford, congratulations. Our next honoree tonight, another amazing community leader, Veronica Dahlberg. She will be introduced by Cleveland Councilwoman Jasmine Santana. Councilwoman Santana was the first Latina council member in the city's history. She is the first Latina council member in the city's history. Councilwoman Santana represents Clark Fulton, Stockyards, and portions of Brooklyn Center and Tremont neighborhoods. She is also the council's representative to the city's Community Relations Board. Please welcome to the podium, Cleveland Councilwoman Jasmine Santana. Good to see you.
Thank you. Buenos dias. Good evening, everyone. Once again, Councilwoman Jasmine Santana, representing Ward 14. I am incredibly proud as a Latina to stand before you today to celebrate the outstanding achievement of the incredible Latina, Veronica Dahlberg. Thank you. I've had the privilege of working with the same community with Veronica since 2006. Through my work at Metro Health, Veronica and I originally bonded over the importance of healthcare access across cultures, but through the many years together, we've had the opportunity to work together on a wide range of cultural and language access issues. Throughout our collaboration, she has consistently demonstrated passion and focus on advocating for the Latino immigrants in our community. Whether the issue was facing our community, like housing instability or the importance of legal rights that affect hundreds and thousands of our immigrant communities, or childcare, Veronica has spent her life advocating for people who are limited and their ability to advocate for themselves. Veronica's commitment to excellence has not only brought honor to ourselves, but created opportunities for people who live in the shadows of our community. I'm incredibly proud and grateful to know Veronica Dahlberg and present her award today, and proud to work with her and have her in the city of Cleveland. Veronica, your achievements are a shining example of what we could accomplish with dedication and advocacy within our community. Congratulations on your outstanding success and your induction today. We are so very proud of you and to have you in our community. Thank you for your passion and commitment to the immigrant community.
Sorry, I'm a little nervous. Thank you so very much. This is a huge honor. I'm deeply, deeply honored to get this award. I want to thank Dan and Hanson for this incredible event, just to see so many people together to celebrate diverse cultures, ethnicities, languages. It truly fills me with optimism. Especially, you know, I feel that it's a strong, just a powerful contradiction to the narrative that we might see on social media or TV about immigrants. This is just so positive and uplifting, so thank you. Everybody's talking about their mom, and I'll follow Eddie, and who I want to say hi to and honor as well. I want to tell a story about my parents, who were both immigrants. My father was born and raised in Hungary, and he had to flee Hungary and lived in a refugee camp as a displaced person in Austria. And then from there, he took an immigrant ship to Venezuela and became a Venezuelan immigrant, and a Venezuelan citizen, I should say. And he learned to speak Spanish, which he spoke with a very thick Hungarian accent. And then he went on to Mexico, where he met my mom. My mom was born and raised in Mexico, in a little small town. And my oldest brother was born in Mexico. But then they came up to Cleveland because my dad had some Hungarian friends here in the Buckeye neighborhood. So my parents lived in a little apartment there. And why this award feels so improbable to me is because both my parents have passed away, but recently I was going through some of their letters because my dad would travel a lot and my mom would be home in the apartment, pregnant with me, not driving, not speaking English, not knowing anybody here. And I found this little note in one of the letters that she sent to my dad. It's from the hospital, and it's 3 months before I was born. And it says, regarding obstetrical reservations, I'm afraid your reservation has been canceled. Payment in advance is the rule in all Cleveland hospitals when the patient is not covered by insurance. Please contact me at once. I was floored by this. My mom could not have me in Cleveland at the time. She must have felt horrible. And I never knew why I was born in Canton, Ohio. So here I am getting the Cleveland International Hall of Fame Award, you know, when I wasn't. And I can tell you that with OLA, our organization, any mom, dad, worker, family can come to our community center and get all the help they need, free interpretation, free translations, access to medical care. We help so many people, and I do it really in honor of my parents and because it's such a privilege to work with the immigrant community. And for some visuals, we brought some our folkloric dance leaders from Painesville. So in closing, I would like to just invite everybody to our Cinco de Mayo celebration, which will be Saturday, May 4th in Painesville, where we celebrate our bicultural identity as Mexicans and Americans. We celebrate 4th of July, we celebrate Memorial Day, but we also celebrate our Cinco de Mayo and our Mexican Independence Day. So thank you so much for allowing us to celebrate our cultures.
Mr. Dahlberg, congratulations to you. Our next inductee will go in posthumously, the late Dr. Eugene Jordan. To say some words about Dr. Jordan will be the Reverend Dr. Otis Moss, Jr. What can be said about Dr. Otis Moss, Jr.? I'm going to try to say a few things here. We only have a few minutes. I could spend all night talking about his accomplishments. Of course, he was friends with both Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and Dr. Martin Luther King Sr., regional director of Martin Luther King Jr.'s Southern Christian Leadership Conference, leading several campaigns to fight various forms of discrimination and segregation. He also participated in the Selma, Alabama Civil Rights March with Dr. King, and we became close friends with. In 1975, he became pastor of the Olivet Institutional Baptist Church, which was then the largest black church in the state of Ohio. He led that church for 33 years before retiring in 2008. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the podium the Reverend Dr. Otis Moss Jr.
Thank you very kindly, and congratulations to all of the honorees, past and present. I would like to take a moment of privilege and ask the immediate family of Dr. Eugene Jordan to join me here. That's the first paragraph of my speech. If the immediate family of Dr. Eugene Jordan would come and join me briefly tonight. And as they stand, each one is Dr. Jordan. Dr. Jordan. Two dentists, Dr. Jordan. Psychiatrist. How remarkable, indeed. How remarkable. Dr. Eugene Jordan was a person, a man, a leader of excellence. In college in Ohio, in dental school at Howard University. But after that, and establishing a great dental practice in this community, he continued to go to school. He earned degrees not because he needed them, but because he deserved them. Dr. Jordan has left an indelible legacy, not only for his immediate family, but for all of us, present and future. Dr. Jordan was a liberation doctor, civil rights doctor, human rights individual, and this community, I dare say, this nation is a better place, a greater place, because of his life and his work. His life is now immortal because his deeds were so necessary, so courageous, and so remarkable. He deposited so much, not in himself, but in the lives of others. Every day of his life, we are better because of you, Dr. Eugene Jordan. And thanks be to God for your life, your legacy, and those who stand now carrying on the work of greatness. If I were at church, I would say, let the church say amen. Thank you, thank you. Can you hear me?
Barely. Louder.
Yeah.
Normally, when there's so many Jordans together, we generally flip a quarter to see who decides what each other's are going to do, or we just listen to Joy and she tells us what we're going to do. I would like to thank the committee. We are definitely honored. Our community, the African American community, is honored. Dad came. We settled in Cleveland Heights University High. Mom and Dad worked in Cleveland. And if it takes a village to raise a child, you raise a young man, our father, to be an inspiration to all of us. His actions, his acts, his work. Thank you for remembering our father. If his legacy, he would say, it's not so much in the works. It's in his children and his grandchildren and other children of the city of Cleveland, East Cleveland, and Cleveland Heights University Heights. I want to say thank you. We thank you. Reverend Moss, thank you.
With much respect, and again, congratulations to the family. Our next inductee is someone who is well known inside and outside of this room, another great community leader, Erica Puisard. To introduce Ms. Puisard is Estonia's ambassador to the United States, Mr. Christian Priik. Ambassador Priik performed his required military service in the Estonian Defense Forces, where he remains a reserve officer. He's been decorated with the Order of the White Star by the President of the Republic of Estonia, the Cross of Merit of the Ministry of Defense of Estonia, as well as other decorations. He told us a few minutes ago this is his second time to Cleveland, right? He likes Cleveland so much, he would love to bring his family back for a visit. Please welcome to the podium Ambassador Christian Priik.
Thank you, Russ. Thank you so much. It's quite an honor to be here today, and I'd like to thank the Cleveland International Hall of Fame, and for this kind invitation. And the moment I got this invitation a few months ago, I told my staff, my people, my team, I gotta go for two reasons. Firstly, Russ, as you said, that's my second time in Cleveland. In fact, 24 years ago, it was my very first trip to America, and Cleveland was one of the very first cities that I visited in America. And whereas America in general, the United States in general, is a diverse international place, Cleveland was certainly one of these cities where I felt that it was not only internationally diverse, it was not only proud about its diversity, but it was one of these cities that really embraced the international diversity, embraced all the good that comes out of diversity. So I remember the Greek festival that we attended here, just out of the blue, because we had a Greek gentleman in our group, and I remember the cultural gardens that I visited, and that left me an incredible impression. So the international diversity is all that this event is all about. And you know, I actually had a 74-minute speech. I clocked it. But then Councilmember Polensek reminded us to be mindful of the time, so I just have to say very few notes. I'm deeply happy, and that's the second, and that's the most important point why I told my team that I had to come here. I'm deeply happy that the Cleveland International Hall of Fame has decided to honor one of our own Estonian, Mrs. Erika Puusaar, to be the inductee this year. Estonia is a small country. There are many small countries in the world. Estonia, according to some standards, maybe called a tiny country. Even though my great colleagues, one of them is here, tells me that I should never say that. I should only say that Estonia is a compact country. So Estonia is a compact country of 1.3 million people. And so to have someone who's left a mark in a huge country, in this melting pot of nations, United States of America, it's incredible. Erika's story is unique, absolutely unique, no question about that. But I would also say that her story is, in a way, typical to the experience of so many Estonians of the 20th century. So she was born in Estonia, but was forced to leave as a toddler, together with her family, to flee from the Soviet occupation and the Second World War to unknown. I was really happy to have the opportunity to actually also meet her sister Sylvia and her brother Axel, together with you, left their home country. And in 1951, so several years later, they left Estonia. Several years after they spent many years in Germany in camp for displaced people. Several years of living the life of who knows what comes next. They made it to America, first to Michigan. And Erika got his high school diploma, got her college degree in Michigan, but then moved here to Ohio, where she's been ever since. She's been a loved educator. You know, education, that's great. I would spend another 74 minutes by talking about that. My own wife is an educator, so I'm very passionate about that. Again, she spent as an educator for 30 years. But very importantly, in addition to all the professional work, in addition to the paid work, she never failed to be an Estonian, to be just a great human being, and to introduce my country, her country, our country, to other people in this room and well beyond. And I guess this is what this great fabric of society, this great fabric of human coexistence is all about. We tell stories about our countries. We listen to the stories of other countries, and then we get richer and richer by doing that every day. Erika has done this incredibly well. She's been one of those who has been developing this whole great project of cultural gardens. Her roles include the president of Estonian Cultural Garden, the vice president of Cleveland Cultural Gardens, also the vice president of the Baltic Society, whatever, Baltic Society of Greater Cleveland, and many others. And I guess through all these different roles, again, she's been part of this great human fabric of Greater Cleveland. So before I induct Erika, I just have a proof that I've been here. This photo of myself, it was very dearly in my own private archive from May 26th of 2000, when I first came here, and when I was so impressed, I was blown away by seeing the Estonian cultural garden in the middle of American heartland, in middle of Cleveland. So thank you, Erika, for this gift, and thank you everyone who has been involved with the Cleveland International Hall of Fame, and certainly to everyone who has been involved with the cultural gardens of Cleveland. This is a great project that I hope many other cities and countries will follow. Aitäh, Erika.
Thank you, Ambassador Brick, for your kind words of introduction. I greatly appreciate the Cleveland International Hall of Fame for this great honor. Also, the work of Debbie and Dan Hansen is greatly appreciated for organizing this annual event. It takes almost a year to organize this, so they have worked long and hard. Thank you. I wish to introduce 4 special members of my family who have traveled long distances to witness this event. If they didn't witness it, they wouldn't believe, but here I am. First of all, my precious sister, Silva Kikut-Puderer Silva, stand up, from Ann Arbor, Michigan. My precious brother, Aksi Kikut, who came and his wife, Rini, who traveled from Manhattan Beach, California. And my 2 precious grandchildren, Emmy, Sam Pusa, and Emmy. And there are 2 large circular tables of people who have supported me all these years. There are 3 countries, Estonia, Latvia, and Lithuania, who are frequently called the Baltic states. In the past, the Cleveland International Hall of Fame, they have inducted into the Hall of Fame. Ingrida, where are you? Ingrida Bublis from Lithuania, Anda Kurt from Latvia, and it's my good fortune to be inducted as the 3rd member of the Baltic countries. Although born in 3 different countries, we have many similar attributes.
Excuse me, I'm just going to move it over a little bit. Sorry. Thank you.
All 3 of us have common attributes. Number 1, we were born in our homeland of Estonia, Latvia, and Lithuania. Number 2, our families escaped our respected countries in fear of communist rule. Number 3, we lived in DP camps for several years in Germany. We immigrated to America in the 1950s We were educated in America. We are mothers. Most of all three of us have been married to our spouses for over 50 years. Remarkably, all three of us made time to take an active interest in our homeland. Now, you may address, where's Ingrida, Anda, and Erica as the three Baltic sisters. I wish to relate a humorous story. A boy named Jose was from Mexico, and he was invited to his first football game at Progressive Field. When he returned from the event, his mother anxiously asked, "Jose, how did you like the game?" Jose replied, "It was great. When I got to my seat, everybody in the stadium stood up and sang, 'Jose, can you see?'" Many of you have precious immigrant stories. My most memorable story is about Mimi, whose family escaped Vietnam as boat people. Mimi was my first grade student. On her first day of school in America, the students had their usual lunch and then went outside for recess. The school playground, it was surrounded by high tennis fence. When recess was over, the playground lady blew her whistle. All the students were running helter-skelter to their assigned stations. However, Mimi was confused and sensed imminent danger. She climbed the tall fence. Her little feet were in the little sections. She climbed the tall fence to escape harm. The playground lady was horrified and yanked Mimi off the high fence and escorted Mimi back to my classroom. Mimi was trembling with fear, and her face showed unforgettable panic. I tried to comfort her and explain the situation. No one except Mimi understands the perils that her family endured. Perhaps this current situation brought back horrible memories. I have sadly lost contact with Mimi. I pray that she is happy, that she is safe in America, that she has high self-esteem, and that she became a teacher, just like her father was in Vietnam. My closing point is national anthems. When we hear our native anthems, it stirs our hearts and brings back nostalgia. America has been good to us for the most part. So when we hear the American national anthem, the last lines should have special meaning to us. It states, "Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner wave over the land of the free and the home of the brave." Thank you.
Ms. Bouchard, congratulations to you. And I could have used that whistle earlier. Thanks. Our final inductee tonight is a true Renaissance man, Mr. Johnny Wu. Johnny will be inducted by Margaret Wong. More than 50 years ago, award-winning practicing immigration lawyer Margaret Wong began her firm after years of adversity. She was born in Hong Kong and founded Margaret W. Wong and Associates, LLC, which began with a single desk rented for $25 and is now one of the nation's premier immigration law firms with offices in 9 cities. She's an immigrant, a self-starter, and a proud businesswoman. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the podium Ms. Margaret Wong.
Yeah. We all age so well here, and thank you, Dan and Debbie. Only you can bring us all together. For all of us who are not Crawford, here is one of the richest men in Cleveland. Eddie Crawford, he left. He left with the Irish. He's around here. But there's all the other people here. Here's one. So I want to point out all the rich people. Veronica, you and I will have to get them to get us money to do stuff. But thank you. I don't mean to be rude. And thank you so much, Pat, the mother. And Johnny, I need you up here. My job is to introduce you. I'm so proud of my young friend. He's awesome. He speaks Spanish, he speaks Chinese. Of course, he's great in English. And I knew him when he was so young, and both of us were not wealthy, not known, but here we are, and thank you. And thank you so much for coming. We have grown up a lot together. A lot of us were poor at one time, and now we're here, and it's nice to be able to have a nice dinner, see old friends, see each other, get recognized, even though it's a Cinderella for a few hours. But that's great, Johnny. Thank you. Mr. Johnny Wu. Last but not least,
So before I start, I'm going to take a picture of you guys with my crazy geek tier gear I have in my chest, which is the AI pin. Not working. So unfortunately it's not going to work right now. So anyway, thank you again for this opportunity, this honor. I'm very blessed to be here with all you guys. Thank you, Dan, Debbie, and everybody in the committee. I just have a very, very short story since I'm the last one based on my last name. We're gonna get this done really, really fast so we can go home, right? It's past my bedtime anyway. The little story is 13 years ago, Dan and Debbie started this organization, and every time he see me, he would say, "Oh man, Johnny, you got nominated, but you're too young to get in." So 13 years later, 14 years now actually, I finally sit in the big table. I really appreciate everyone for being here. It's very important to be who you are and promote diversity as a whole. And again, thank you. That's it. Have a good night.
Johnny, congratulations. See you at Liwa next week? It's a deal. Dan, you have some closing thoughts?
Well, I'll tell you, if you weren't inspired by that, I apologize for the sound. I guess some speakers are out and it's kind of muddy and all, but you got the gist of it. Please read about them in their book. Read about them on the webpage because they're 6 incredible people, and I think you got a taste of that tonight. You can see the sponsors and all, they've been up there, so I'm not going to read them again. But I do want to thank Russ Mitchell. He came in, he did an amazing job. Some of these names aren't easy, really, Russ. He's a pros pro. And if you could join me up here a second, we always end the Hall of Fame 2 ways. We have a toast, and then we have the inductees come up here, the class photo, maybe over here we'll set up. It's very important because you see we keep it in the book, we'll have it in the museum and all that. So Russ, come on up. Everyone raise a glass, and we're gonna toast Donna and Veronica and Dr. Jordan and Erica and Johnny and who am I missing? Ed, Ambassador Ed. So in whatever language you say, I'm going to say Slancha, but here's to you, the class of 2024. Thank you, Russ.
Thank you.
A pros pro.
Want to say good night?
Dan, thank you so much. And once again, thank you and Debbie for inviting me here tonight. Hope you had a great time. Once again, congrats to all the inductees tonight. We will see you next year. Safe travels home.